Bye! My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our Duck Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home. Welcome back to another episode of Duck Dogs. I am Josh Miller, and I'm here to give you another little sit down as we go over a topic that has been kind of on my mind here, recently, and so I can't wait to dig into this one a little bit. But before I get going, as always, we have to make sure we thank our great partners that make this show possible. So thank you to DUK. DUK Premium Performance Sport 3020 is the blend of food that I feed my personal dogs and the dogs at the kennel, and it has just been by far the best feed that we have found to keep our dogs at the top condition and performing at that peak level. www.yukanuba.com. Also, thank you to Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck is your 5-star crash test rated kennel, both in the intermediate and in the large size. So no matter how big or small your four-legged hunting partner is, you can be sure they're traveling as safe as they possibly can. www.luckyduck.com. Also, thank you to Sitka Gear. Sitka Gear is your premium option for your clothing as you head out into the field. It's going to keep you more comfortable for longer, meaning that you enjoy all the time you possibly can while you're out in the field. www.sitkagear.com. Thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your hunting and training needs as it pertains to your four-legged hunting partner. Great people, great products, great customer service. www.gundogsupply.com. Also, thank you to Kent Cartridge. Kent is our shotgun shell of choice as we head into the field, and I love that Kent bismuth in particular. I just absolutely love that round. So www.kentcartridge.com. Last but not least, thank you to Retriever Roadmap. Retriever Roadmap is your premium online option for training your own dog at home. Step-by-step video libraries walk you through the process. A fantastic community to help, whether it's training days to get together, whether it's just people to lean on, experiences, thoughts, questions. Great deal. www.retrieverroadmap.com. And as part of being a Duck Dogs listener, you do get $100 off your membership. So DD for Duck Dogs, DD100 will get you $100 off your membership to Retriever Roadmap. Well, I hope everyone out there is having a fantastic week. I've had a week here of playing major catch-up from being gone and then catching up on everything that naturally and inevitably kind of stacks up on you while you're away. And I think I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but the hunting has been fantastic down in Arkansas. Our housing situation, not so much. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV, there's no cell service. And so you get a little stir crazy. And, so when I say catch up, you can imagine that generally speaking, I could use some afternoons to catch up. Well, not so much, with the given situation. So some major catch up here, some major office time, and which have been good. It's good to kind of sit down and dedicate to getting some of this stuff done. But new product, if you guys are at all interested, go to riverstonekennels.com. You'll find it in the shop area. I'm looking at one right now. And so what this is I'm calling these handling cards. And they are white cards that I had made up. They're durable. They're waterproof. Really, they're a good size. They're big enough to be able to see, but small enough to fit in your pockets. What they are, they're kind of like the size. I'm kind of comparing it to my phone, like definitely shorter than my phone, maybe a hair wider, but kind kind of that size. Anyway, I when I was overseas, I was watching. I've seen this for a while, but of course, sometimes it doesn't hit me right away. But I was watching some guys handle, and they were using like handkerchiefs, like white handkerchiefs, so that the dog could see them. And you think about it from a hunting standpoint. We've talked about this before, right? You blow the whistle, dog turns to look at you, and you are in the best camouflage you can buy. The blind is brushed up as best you possibly can. You're doing everything you can possible to hide. And yet our expectation is that our dog turns, sees us, can take a cast at 200 yards. I mean, that's an incredible thing to ask. And so it made me think, well, isn't there something that we can do? And Lewis, who you guys have heard Lewis on this show before, he had these little cards that he carried in his truck. And I was like, I wonder if I could make something that you could carry. So these handling cards, again, you can find them on the Riverstone Kennels website, but they're really just, you can put them in your blind bag, in the pocket of your truck, in your training bag, in your jacket as you hit the field. And the idea here is when the dog turns to look at you and is trying to find where you are, boom, you have this white card. The dog can focus in on the white, can find you quick and easy, and then can very easily see as you have the white card in your hand, giving that cast, can much easier see the direction you're trying to give them. I think they're awesome. So go check that out. We have it Retriever Roadmap branded because I love that logo and I love that brand, that community. So kind of cool. I think it'd be a nice, easy thing, especially from a hunting standpoint. Now this is again, hunting. How do we best make our dogs successful? This is, I believe, one of those reasons that we can do that. So, anyway, I have a little quick one that I want to dig into today because I just had a little bit of time. I don't have a ton of time today, but I have a little bit of time, and I've been on this kind of kick recently of this term. And the more that I think about the term, the more I'm finding areas that I think it applies, and I think it's worth the critical thinking side of it. And that term is perceived value. And where I really first came up, with digging into this term was that, we like to do kind of exit interviews with clients at the kennel, especially this time of year. Like, I'm always looking to get better. What do we do well? What could we improve on? Any advice, any ideas, right? So I'm always trying to get better. And the odd thing that I continue to find is that the number one feedback, and this is really strange, but this is honest to goodness, the number one piece of feedback we get is that we don't charge enough. We don't charge enough for puppies. We don't charge enough for training. And that's such a strange thing to hear, especially on the puppy side. The puppy side is where we really, really hear we don't charge enough. And where the people are coming from with that is that, I would rather not wait 2 years. I would rather pay much more and get a puppy faster. And everything that you guys are doing is justifying the cost, blah, 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 blah. So perceived value, right? This puppy, although we deem it, for us, everything is to me, a true value. Okay, so what is the true value? Well, we know what the cost is that goes in to making this happen. And we know what we have to charge for it to get what we need to out of it to make this go round. Same thing with the training side of it. What is the true value? We know the cost that goes into, and I promise you guys, way more cost into the kennel than what I think is thought of as people come by the kennel. But when you start taking salaries, when you start taking, dog food alone, you start talking all these things, just turn the lights on. How about the cost for the mortgage? How about the property? How about you start going down the list. So, but we know what the true value is, and we know what we have to charge to be able to make that go around. But perceived value is such an interesting thing. And what sparked my want to talk about this today is twofold. Okay, so first off, some things I recently saw on social media, and then a personal experience that I had here just last night. And so I'll tell you what my experience was last night first. So you guys have heard about, my roping and my rodeo career that I have now underway. And I think you guys have heard about Willie. Well, and if you haven't, Willie is my horse. I got him as a rope horse. He had experience in doing so. He had done more breakaway roping, which is what the girls do, more so than tie down. There's more work that the horse has to do in tie down. And so, yeah, there was some training that went involved, but he knew what he was doing. He was certainly better at his job than I was at mine, which is what allowed me to elevate my game, and he made me better, which is great. Is he the best rope horse? No, he's not, but he's really solid, and he's really good at what I need him for. And that's exactly how I looked at him when I purchased him, with value. Okay, so to give you guys an idea, I think I paid $18,000 for him. I should have had that number solid, but I think I paid $18,000 for him is what we paid. And so for me, that was what his true value was. My perceived value was, quite frankly, much more than that, because I went into some of these rodeos and was successful. Certainly in my game, I was able to elevate and get better because of him. He was able to compensate for a lot of my mistakes as I'm learning, not knowing what I'm doing. He knew what to do. And so with a horse that was maybe more all over the place, I wouldn't have the same perceived value as him. Okay, so that's a quick little background on him. So last night, so we're currently talking about getting a second rope horse, because I plan to compete a bunch more, and naturally I don't want to be running him ragged, and at the same time I have to have a contingent plan for what if he gets hurt, what if something happens, right? I have to have a backup plan. And part of what we are looking for is a horse that is just like Willie. That what I would say is maybe that next step, or 2 steps ahead of Willie as far as the competition side. Like how do I elevate now even more? Like, I know I have a lot of work that I personally have to do, but there's certainly more work, or more that a horse that levels me up can give me as far as advantages go. So I'm looking for that, but I'm also looking for a horse that can do what Willie does, which is turn it off and be able to be a trail horse and be able to be calm and walked around. And not all, specifically rope horses, excuse me, guys, they're not all like that. And a lot of them are fire-breathing dragons, and a lot of them don't have the off switch, and there's just a lot of things that go into that. And so I was actually talking with a friend of mine last night that just kind of, I've been planting the seeds with everybody I know of that I'm on this search, right? And I know it might take a while, I have to be patient, but the more people that know about it, the more chance there is of leading me into leads on who this next horse might be. And I'm watching, so my daughter, who is 4, she adores Willie, and she rides him all by herself. Okay, so 4 years old, and she knows what she's doing, but we have things that we do as far as with her, which is, all right, we go forward, we steer left, we steer right, we stop, we walk backwards, we turn in a circle, we turn in a circle the other way, right? We go. So Ava's truly understanding how to ride and how to control this horse. Now, here is a very reserved, quiet little girl that I have watched ever since this connection with Willie, and Willie being so responsive to her and allowing her to lead. Never once, knock on wood, never once has he pushed her around. Has he challenged her? Has he done something stupid? Not once. And so what I've seen now is this little 4-year-old girl, her confidence has literally shot through the roof because of this horse. And so I was literally standing next to the guy I was talking to about this last night, and I looked at him and I pointed at Willie as, again, my 4-year-old daughter is literally riding by herself in this arena. And I said, that's a $50,000 horse. And he's like, yeah, I mean, Yeah, and I was like, no. That's a $50,000 horse to me because of what he's doing right there. Like, it's great that he does the rope work. It's great that he can be competitive. It's great that he's a hard stop. It's great that he does all this stuff. And that might make him a, $25,000 horse, a $30,000 horse right now. But watching him do that to me, that is a $50,000 horse, because I'm literally talking to you, not having to worry about what is going on right now. That peace of mind is worth that value to me. That's my perceived value. And so, again, this is one of the reasons, like, this is just in my head. So I then, I went on, to be honest with you guys, I really have been trying to do a good job staying off of social media. It boggles my mind, some of the comments and things that I see on these things. But I saw one I had to go on, I think it was 2-3 days ago now, and go on the Retriever Roadmap members page and just kind of answer some questions. We did a couple live, Q&A type stuff on there. But one of the things that I did as I was scrolling is I saw, one of these pages, and somebody just asked about, like, some, retriever training or something like that. And the opinions that were going back and forth of, like, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or the dog better have this, or the dog can't have that, or, all this back and forth. And I'm sitting there going, all of it is opinions. None of these people probably, that was an assumption on my part, but none of these people probably know this person at all. Have no idea, certainly, who the dog is, have no idea what this person wants, what this person needs, what this person hopes for, you don't know any of that. So how can you sit there and tell somebody what needs to happen, or where or who adds value? Okay, so I go back to, specifically my pointing dog field trial days, where I field trialed off of horseback with pointers. I loved it. I've said it on the show before, but it's probably the time in my career that I missed the most. I had so much fun. It was so fantastic. I loved every second of it, but it was a game. Just like I'll tell you that field trials or hunt tests for retrievers are a game. And so the game there was, these are really big running dogs. I mean, they're working, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 yards away, like boogieing, big country, really rolling. And when they found birds, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. There was a statue until we'd get up there. We'd go up there, flush, shoot the guns, completely steady, take them from there, point them in a new direction, boom, set them off again. They went and did it all over again. And although I loved it, about every single hunter that I would talk to about it would go, why would I ever want a dog to run that far ahead of me? Why would I ever want a dog to range, that much? And I get it, right? And so now here are two different groups of people, right? So if I was in my field trial buddy group, the perceived value of a dog had almost everything to do with how rangy they were, how much they'd stretch it out, how much ground they would cover. And then the perceived value of that same dog to a different group was borderline worthless, because nobody wanted that dog that ranged that far. I'm hunting, I'm on foot. We're probably hunting a 40-acre public land field. Like, why do I want him in the next county? So again, perceived value. And so when I come full circle on this on the retriever side, okay, so here is, again, those of us that are hunters. Okay, when you hear about a dog that is, I'm just gonna throw some titles out there: FC, AFC, Master Hunter, Grand Retriever Champion, Master National Pass, all stuff, great. But if that same dog won't sit still and quiet in the blind with you, is sitting there, whiny, wanting to break, just like the whole time, right? Like, even if they don't break, wanting to, right? Like, what is your perceived value of that dog? Probably way different than the perceived value of that dog when he accomplished those titles. And so much of this is who you're around. What are you thinking of, right? And here's, I think, the last piece of this, as I come all the way around. I was talking to a client of mine that's become a good friend. The guy's name is Luke in Ohio. He's a great, great guy. And he got his first dog from us. I want to say she's got to be maybe a year and a half old. I'm kind of guessing here, but probably in that ballpark. And she is very chill, very low key, which is exactly what Luke wanted and needed for that first dog to get him into this whole thing. Okay. So now he has dog number 2, which, as we talked, like, he was ready. Dog number 1 taught him a lot. Dog number 2, what he wanted was a dog with more pop and more motor, which he certainly has. Well, he and his girlfriend are perceiving these two dogs' values much differently, right? Because Luke looks at the new puppy as like, this is what I want. This gets me excited. I can do so much with this. And then what he had told me is that his girlfriend's like, why can't he just do what Mac does, which is chill out, hang out, and hang with me on the couch, and like just be this. So again, two different people with two different perspectives on this. So I guess the whole thing and the whole reason that I bring this up and I talk about this is, one, I do feel like there's a lot of value in critically thinking about this yourself. What is your perception of value? And of course, I'm going to dial this into our dogs, right? What is your perception of value? Because I can tell you, for me, when I look at it, like, I want my dogs to be calm, quiet, under control, be able to go do those top end things. But what are my top end things? Okay. So, I'll be honest with you guys, as I normally am. Like, I know there's like this like tournament hunting, this speed hunting thing. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, why in the world do I care how fast you go through a field, how fast you shoot something, how fast? Because when I've watched it, it is go, 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 fast, 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 fast. And then the dogs are so jacked up and geeked out, they come back, and a lot of times, like, they're handing the bird off, and it's like, drop it. And it finally gets it out of the mouth, and they're going again. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. There's no control there. But again, like, who am I to tell someone that enjoys that what that dog should be doing? On the flip side of it, who are you to tell me that that's what a dog should be? So this full circle thing is, this is where I believe it's just so important to be surrounding yourself with like-minded people that have, if not the same, at least similar perceived values as you have. If you guys can row the boat together in a similar direction, there's going to be a lot more harmony in that relationship. If you are going two completely different ways, you are going to butt heads. I have a very dear friend of mine that is a professional trainer that is completely eaten up with, the field trials and hunt tests and everything else, and I love it, but he doesn't hunt. And so when we have these kinds of conversations of like, oh, this dog is an absolute machine, he's awesome, he's the best, he's all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but like he won't sit still and be quiet. Like, that's not a duck dog. And we go back and forth. Like, we can do it because we have a long enough relationship that we're half joking, half serious, and at the end of it, we know we both love each other and move on. But I believe that in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to dogs, because there's so much emotion tied to what seems like every conversation that everybody ever has around their dog, is that there's going to be friction off of having that kind of conversation. I've said this before on here too, but it seems like every person I run into at a trade show, when they tell me about their dog is the absolute best dog in the world, and their best buddy has either the second best dog in the world or the absolute worst dog in the world. It's one of the two. It's never anything in between. And again, I think this comes down to that perceived value. If your guys' values are the same and your dogs are in that same light, moving that same direction, have those same qualities, then I think you're going to be, I have the best dog in the world, you have a second best dog. If it is two very different values, then I think that's where you see mine's the best, his is the worst, and probably his buddy's going to tell you the exact opposite. His dog is the best, and the guy that you're talking to has the worst. Again, just the like-mindedness is so important, and this is again where I just go on like why anyone would be on social media and be taking legitimate advice from people that they don't know is beyond me. I had a phone call literally this morning with a guy that would like to get into dog training. We talk to people like this all the time. I think it's great, and I will give any advice, any honest, open advice that I can to people that are wanting to start down this journey. I love it. I was here at one point too. And the conversation that he and I had was that I think his head's in the right place. I think he's got a lot going for him. But training for the public is much, much different than training your own personal dog at home. And you really don't know if you love this or not until you get 100, 200 dogs in. That's when you really understand, because this is now a job. It is not doing this as a hobby or a maybe an escape even from my job or from my day-to-day life. And so that's where there's a lot around just that process, right? Of finding the right people, finding the right direction, being around people. But again, like social media, the worst place to go ask for advice on this stuff. Find a retriever group. Find retriever roadmap, that community. Love it. Find like-minded people that you hunt with. Find people that you can connect with and ask away. Like for me, if I click with you, if you listen to this and you're like, gosh, I agree with your methods. I agree with how you feel about this. I agree with your thoughts. Like lean on me. Like I'm more than happy to answer anybody's messages, any questions, that you guys have. But I just, it makes me cringe when I see some of these comments and think people are actually going to read this and actually take this advice. It's kind of mind blowing to me. And not only that, but then the thought, the arrogance that people have that think, why would anyone care what you think? Like you've trained one dog, two dogs, and you do this. I'm just going to use that tournament hunting, like that's what you think a dog should do. Like, I'm a duck hunter. I'm looking to run HRC hunt tests, or I'm like, it's a completely different thing. But nobody talks about that. Just talk about this is what a dog should do. Give me a break. Perceive value. Critically think about that here. And it doesn't just have to be dogs. It could be your life. It could be, your work wage. It could be like, there's a lot there. What is the perceived value? I just felt like it's been a really interesting thing for me as I go through my day-to-day. So I know it was a quick one, but felt like it was just worth it. Sit down and record that quick. So hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and go look at the values in your life. I think it's a little eye-opening. Take care, you guys.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, and a special thank you to Eukanuba, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.